Everyday Superpower, where we talk body language and nonverbal communication. Two links in the description. One is the catalogue of body language. It's my YouTube playlist breaking down each and every gesture of the human body nonverbally. It's how you learn for free how to read people's minds just through observing them. Second to that is the Patreon, where we watch real life dating footage. I'll show you attraction and repulsion body language in real time. That's the game they won't teach you elsewhere. Now, let's go. We'll talk about handshakes today. This should be an interesting one for you, okay? Because you know, depending on what part of the world you're in, I know as far as I'm concerned, where I'm based, you can't avoid handshakes, all right? So, we're going to talk about identifying a person's position to you, relative to you, whether they be in a submissive position or attempting to attain a dominant position over you. And importantly, what they think they are to you. And they will show it with this handshake. And it's clear as day. And trust me, I honestly will tell you now, I would say 99.9% of people don't know this is happening. And it's so clear. So you don't have to be a nonverbal maestro to be able to identify this. Especially because, let me tell you, right? We've got a part of our brain which fixates on the hands of other people, right? We are very well clued into the hands of other people. So the moment somebody reaches out to offer us a handshake or the vice versa, our brain locks onto their hand. Maybe outside of our conscious awareness, but we need to pay attention to hands. It's a survival mechanism to ensure that we are safe. And yeah, our brain's first sort of intention is to ensure we survive in this world, right? So the handshake, to put it simply, you want to be paying attention as to whether in this handshake or prior to this handshake, when their hand is outreach, when their arm is stretched out towards you, whether the palm is facing down or up. And this can be upon a spectrum, right? Because, of course, the hand might not necessarily be strictly facing down, but might be angled in a downward trajectory. Or the hand might be facing upwards for you to take the top position and to shake their hand, right? And you will find this ever so interesting if you don't know this, because it's a fantastic insight into if that person feels like they are better than you or submissive to you. Yeah? When somebody says, the phrase, they've got the upper hand, this is what it means. This is what it relates to. That person has the upper hand. It means that person is in the dominant position. If you see the image before you, have a look at what you see. The person with the darker tone of skin, he has got the upper hand within that handshake. Yes? Who reached out first? It might have been him, okay? Or it might have been the lighter coloured fella, and he may have put his hand forward in a submissive manner over this contract, unconsciously showcasing his position within that dealing, within that partnership, within that friendship. You tell me. In the environment I work from time to time, people do come in and they need stuff of me. And they will come in and they will put their hand out. And when you clock onto this and when you start paying attention to the nonverbal cues, and I'm speaking of, you don't have to be 24/7 clued into this. I've taken years off of educating myself over the nonverbal stuff. I've internalized it. I mean, I lost a little bit of the theoretical understanding, but I know what I see and I know what it represents, right? And you don't forget once you learn to observe this. You don't forget this handshake, because you have to engage with people in the day-to-day with this direct, intimate, personal nonverbal connection, and it is intimate. It's physically touching and holding on to somebody you don't know, generally, you know? I wouldn't say attempt to be in the dominant position. I would not recommend that. I would not go through life in an attempt to covertly dominate other people. The perfect handshake is one of mutual agreement and understanding. One that meets central in the middle, right? But what I am telling you is, if you can avoid it, do not take the bottom position. Do not take the bottom position. And I'll tell you a story of me on a date, right? So this is external to business. I mean, it is business to an extent, but I've been dating, yeah? And this lovely lady plays her part, generally speaking. She's feminine and in position, and naturally allows me to fulfill my purpose and role and give me a masculine entity, whether it be in the world of, the mental or the physical. But we went out, and the very first time I put my money up, and we went for an expensive dinner and drinks, and I allowed her to just enjoy herself, and I paid for it up front all by myself, right? We didn't share it, we didn't distribute it, which we had done in the past. When we were reaching over the table, as you do, especially after a few drinks, to sort of explore each other's hands and make connection over that table, I did find that she had taken the oppressive, dominant position with the hand facing down. And that's not to say it was of intention, but non-consciously, it was a showcase of dominance, and I paid attention to that. And when you identify little subtle things like this is when you sort of kind of have to reel back a little bit and self-assess where you're going, what you're doing, to ensure you don't get taken advantage of. You might say it's not that deep, but come on, it's step by step into the realm of that woman not respecting you. A changing of the tides. The moment you start to consistently exist within that submissive feminine position within your relationship, given that you came in on a dominant position, she's going to start to pursue the next dominant man who places himself above you both. That's some game, But we're talking this body language. So when the man comes forth to you, I will be honest with you, I don't know if it's my demeanour. I'm sure a lot of it is, because on my day-to-day, I generally... I'll tell you what, I'm not a person who can put a face on, so I don't go around smiling and, well, not, you know what I mean, on a consistent basis. I don't try to appease people, because understanding that you can clearly see when someone's lying, when you learn this information, you stop lying to people yourself, because you just project yourself and your understandings on everyone, thinking, well, if I can see when you're lying to me or putting on a face, why would I want to do that and showcase myself as like, a fake person to you? So generally, I don't know if it's my demeanor or whatnot, but I portray myself with my own understanding of how to do so and how the mind correlates with the body, in a fashion that when men do come up to me, they don't try to take the dominant position. So I don't know if this is a general thing where some men might experience this more often than others, but I will get the upwards facing palm more so than others. And you have to take into consideration as well, it depends on whether that person wants something for you, something from you, or so forth. So like if you're in a sales position and that person has come to you to purchase something, they may introduce themselves in this submissive position, because quite frankly they are in the submissive position because they need you, or at least you're playing a game as to who needs who more, and this behavior will represent that. I mean, how much more can we talk about this? Honestly, just to break it down, the exposure of the palm is to showcase that that individual is holding no weaponry. Yeah, I'll tell you a brief story. When I was going to the shops one night, a homeless person came up to me to ask for money, and I had my hands in my pockets. And he jumped to a conclusion, saying, he made a side comment. I won't tell you what he said, but it was from a position of threat, purely down to the fact I had my hands in my pockets. Because when we don't see somebody's hands, whether they're under the table or elsewhere, our brain will never be completely comfortable. Okay, so if you want to establish friendship and bonds and good business and so forth, ensure that your hands are present, and ensure that the palms of your hands are present, and that submissive handshake position is symbolic of that. I come in peace, I don't want to threaten you. And that oppressive handwards downwards position is symbolic of the dominant, I could be possessing a weapon, but you're going to have to deal with that. You see? That's some game. Click like and subscribe, people. One love.